Hey, what is up you guys, it's Dustin and I am back with another video, and in this video I want to discuss what is going on with Wendy Williams, because over the years I have followed her. If you followed me for any amount of time, you would know that I credit Wendy Williams with being one of the founding fathers, if not the first person to really come out and spill tea about people. A lot of people don't know Wendy Williams and just how deep it goes with the radio show that she had. You guys, Wendy Williams was out here spilling tea and shading everybody and their mama, including Whitney Houston. How they were going back and forth, it was one of the funniest things because Whitney really came for Wendy and Wendy didn't back down, and I really look up to Wendy for that.
There drug use going on at this present time?
Who are you talking to?
To you, Whitney.
Ask me no questions like I'm a child. Y'all want to know what I'm doing all the time. I don't give a shit about what you're doing all the time. You are so nosy, man. You don't even know what I do. Like you said, you never met me. You don't know me. You ain't been in my house. You don't live with me. You don't sleep with me. You don't do shit with me but talk about me. So watch what you say. Watch what the you say. And if I was really like back in the day in Newark, I'd meet you outside. I'd meet you outside. But I'm a lady and I have a class.
Because I don't think a lot of people understand how hard it is to get on here and talk about people that you actually like. Do you guys think that I dislike every single person that I talk about? No. But it's also very hard to get on here and talk about people that are popular, because that brings a massive wave of hate. Now, we all know that I'm past that, but I truly don't understand how Wendy Williams has dealt with this level that she has received over the years with paparazzi and stuff. Now, news was just released that she has dementia, so I want to come on here and read an article about this. I really hope that you guys are enjoying this format, because I feel like I learned things that I may not necessarily have known, but also I get to react in real time, and I hope that is somewhat entertaining to you guys. Now, Wendy's team came out and released that she was diagnosed with dementia. We're going to read a little bit more about that in the article, but I did just want to touch on how this has affected me personally, because I can relate to this. If you guys have heard any of the stories I've told about my mother, if you followed me on Twitter, that's really where I shared a lot of stuff. In the last few years of my mother's life, she had dementia, and it was very, very hard to deal with. It was a very sad situation. When my mother forgot my name, I almost lost my mind. So to see that Wendy Williams was diagnosed with this at such a young age, because she's not very old, she's not even 60 yet, that is so sad. I just wanted to say that I really feel for her, her son, and her family right now, because I know what they're about to go through, or what they have been going through with this, can literally tear your world apart. Are you guys going to be watching the Wendy Williams documentary that comes out on the 24th of this month? I already have it set to record, girl. But with all that said, let's jump into this article. Okay, so this article was written by ABC News. It will be linked in the description box down below if you'd like to read along, or if you'd just like to read it for yourself. The headline is, Wendy Williams diagnosed with primary progressive aphasia frontotemporal dementia. The talk show host was diagnosed in 2023. Wendy Williams has been diagnosed with primary progressive aphasia frontotemporal dementia, according to a press release from the former talk show host and her medical team. This is devastating. I miss watching Wendy Williams. I miss the Wendy show, and I feel like she was really cheated out of going out of her show the way she wanted to, given everything that was going on with her, but especially because of COVID. We all know that COVID kind of really played a big role in how her show went in the direction that it took. Williams, 59, who hosted her eponymous talk show, The Wendy Williams Show, for more than a decade, has been open in the past about her prolonged health struggles, which included Graves' disease and thyroid conditions. And I feel what makes this even worse is when people are famous, when you reach a certain level of fame, you get no privacy at all. Look at Britney Spears, look at Kylie Jenner, look at all of these people. I remember when Wendy Williams was first going through this health crisis and this health scare, she literally could not go anywhere without having her picture taken. So I can only imagine having to deal with the things that she was dealing with her talk show or health issues, and then you have this person in her face trying to take her picture to try and figure out what is going on. But Wendy Williams was always a really good sport about it, because she always said, I do the hot topics, I mind other people's business.
I would ask you to respect our privacy, but please, I don't respect people's privacy. That's why I do the hot topics.
She was diagnosed with primary progressive aphasia frontotemporal dementia in 2023, and those diagnoses have enabled Wendy to receive the medical care she requires, according to the press. Primary progressive aphasia is a form of frontotemporal dementia. The decision to share this news was difficult and made after careful consideration, not only to advocate for understanding and compassion for Wendy, but to raise awareness about aphasia and frontotemporal dementia and support the thousands of others facing similar circumstances, the press release noted. Now, I wonder in this documentary if they're going to address this, if they're even going to get into this, if they've talked about it. It would actually be kind of refreshing to see Wendy Williams open up about that if she's able to. Now, because of how this disease works, I don't even know if that would be possible. I really do love when people that are going through things that are public figures, when they share their story, because that gives other people hope. So I do hope that Wendy is actually able to bring more attention to this, because we need a cure for it. Wendy is still able to do many things for herself, the press release continued. Most importantly, she maintains her trademark sense of humor and is receiving the care she requires to make sure sure she is protected and that her needs are addressed. She is appreciative of the many kind thoughts and good wishes being sent her way. Primary progressive aphasia is a neurological syndrome in which language capabilities become slowly and progressively impaired, according to National Aphasia Association. So maybe this is a different type of dementia that my mother had, but they're all neurological disorders. And to see someone slowly decline over time, which is what happens with things like this, it's one of the saddest things that anybody could possibly go through or watch.
Primary progressive aphasia is a disorder of speech and language, much like acquired aphasia after head injury or stroke, only it comes on very gradually and usually gets worse gradually. We like to think that at least in the first couple of years of the illness, the intellectual capacity of the patient is normal. So people can get around by themselves, they can tend to their own lives, some of them can continue working. Many of them can develop hobbies. Their intellect is intact, but they can't speak and communicate in a normal manner. In the case of primary progressive aphasia, we're not usually trying to restore spoken language. What we're doing is helping the patient adapt by enabling them to use skills that are still preserved in a better way. So they just learn to compensate better and lead their lives in spite of their disability.
The National Aphasia Association notes that unlike other forms of aphasia, primary progressive aphasia does not result from a stroke or brain injury and instead is caused by the deterioration of brain tissue important for speech and language. That's so sad to me. Does that mean that one day we will not be able to talk to Wendy Williams and she won't be able to respond? That's truly heartbreaking. Dementia is an umbrella term that describes the impaired ability to remember, think, or make decisions that interferes with doing everyday activities according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Though dementia mostly affects older adults, the CDC notes that it's not a part of normal aging, and the organization projects that there will be as many as 14 million people with dementia by 2060. And this is very scary, you guys. And I'm no doctor, but I'm just saying, if you take Benadryl every single day, stop. Google it, find out for yourself. That's all I'm going to say. Do not take Benadryl every day to go to sleep or anything that has the same ingredients as Benadryl. I'm telling you, please just look into that for yourself.
Here are 5 reasons why you should move on from Benadryl that you may not be aware of. I'm a board-certified allergist, and if you want to know more about allergies, asthma, immunology, feel free to hit that follow button to learn more information. Benadryl is a first-generation antihistamine that's commonly used to treat allergy symptoms as well as allergic reactions, and it's been used for many, many years, and people recognize that brand name and think it's the first thing that you use to treat allergy symptoms when there are a lot of things that are problematic with that drug. At number 5, Benadryl is a medication that can easily cross the blood-brain barrier and cause sedation, and it's been associated with increased risk of motor vehicle collisions to the point that in Europe they classify Benadryl as a class 3, which is the top tier, as a medication that you should not be driving with. Pilots in the United States are not allowed to take Benadryl within 30 to 60 hours of flying, depending on the dose that they take, because those sedative effects can last for that long. At number 4, there's a misconception that Benadryl is the fastest acting antihistamine used to treat allergic reactions, when in fact the newer second generation antihistamines such as Zyrtec, Xyzal, and Allegra, they work just about as fast or even potentially faster in some situations. At number 3, about 10 to 15% of people who take Benadryl actually have paradoxical effects known as paradoxical excitation, where you can actually get hyper and aggressive when taking it. The theory behind this is that some people may be super metabolizers of this medication, and so some of the byproducts may cause the brain to become excitable. At number 2, multiple studies such as this one have shown an association between taking anticholinergic drugs in adulthood and the development of dementia later in life. And so Benadryl, as a first-generation antihistamine, also has anticholinergic effects, so this medication potentially is associated with the development of dementia. Second-generation antihistamines, these newer ones I've talked about, do not have anticholinergic effects, so this concern is not seen with these newer medications. And at number 1, which is a continuation of number 2, we know that Benadryl has anticholinergic effects, and if you're not familiar with what that means, there's other effects that it can have on the body, including the following mnemonic: can't see, can't pee, can't spit, can't shit. And your mucous membranes as a whole can dry out, so it's not just those parts of your body, but also your reproductive tract as well, which could potentially lead to dysfunction.
Frontotemporal dementia is caused by degeneration of the frontal and/or temporal lobes of the brain. According to the Association for Frontotemporal Degeneration, it is the most common form of dementia for people under the age of 60, and there is currently no known cure. Which is wild because we all know that in July, Wendy Williams is going to turn 60. That just makes it even more sad to me. Williams' niece Alex Finney recently opened up to Good Morning America about the upcoming Lifetime documentary, Where is Wendy Williams?, which premieres February 24th and was executive produced by Williams herself. Finney told Good Morning America she asked her aunt why she wanted to do the documentary, which would touch on her health struggles and if it was the right time. And she said, now is the perfect time because I want to take ownership of my story. Which is actually really powerful if you think about it, because Wendy Williams has been polarizing for a lot of people, and there's a lot of people that don't like Wendy Williams because they say she's transphobic, homophobic, and all these different things. But at the end of the day, I hope that her sharing her story with the world does help people, and I hope that she doesn't get a lot of hate. According to Lifetime, Where is Wendy Williams will provide a raw, honest, and unfiltered reality of Williams' life in recent years and tell Wendy's journey to resurrect her career and what filmmakers discovered along the way. Now, I can't even begin to hypothesize what this may mean for her career or how she would come back in any capacity with everything that's going on with her, but hopefully, if she's able, I hope she does. I would love to see a Wendy Williams podcast. I would be down for that. I would probably pay for that monthly because I really do enjoy Wendy. But I want to know your guys' thoughts on this. Are you going to be watching the documentary that's going to drop in a couple days on Wendy? I'm excited to know a little bit more about her behind the scenes. But if you guys made it this far in this video, I want you guys to flood my comment section with hearts for Wendy Williams. I really do hope that one day she is able to come back in some capacity. This is also sad, not just for Wendy, but her family as well, because when someone gets diagnosed with something like this, it's like the whole entire family gets diagnosed, and I hate to see it. But with all that said, you guys, I hope you all have an amazing day, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.